Parliament hears questions on supplementary budget. Shares in BCL also discussed. And Maru says no payment until state meets with all groups.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Gabina.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Thursday's news. The national government says it will not pay the outstanding 10 million kina to Koyari landowners until it meets with the 4 impacted landowner groups. Trade, Commerce and Industry Minister Richard Maru says those landowners issuing threats will be cited for contempt because of a court order that's in place. Maru's comments follow the 24-hour ultimatum issued by Koyari landowners to shut down water supply into Port Moresby. The 24 hours lapsed at 6 p.m. yesterday.
Minister Maru said the government will take a holistic approach to address the landowners' demand for the immediate release of the 10 million kina. Government officials, including water company at the Ranu and electricity supplier PNG Power, will meet with landowners next week to finalize when the money will be released and to whom it will be given.
We would like to next week sit down with the 4 impact areas and finalize the negotiations as per the court instructions, so we can finalize a draft package in terms of the benefit flows to the 4 areas.
The outstanding money is part of the 50 million kina, which was allocated for the impacted villages by the national government in 2015. The money is compensation for the 4 impacted groups for the use of their land and water. The dam was built to supply water into Port Moresby prior to Papua New Guinea's independence. Since then, Minister Maru said the landowners were not fully compensated until the O'Neill Dion government allocated the 50 million.
The committee will decide on the use of the funds and go back to NEC to get clarity and confirmation before we undertake projects under the Sustainable Development Package. Now, we will not pay to one landowner company or anyone who holds themselves out to be Koyari landowners.
The landowners have presented a petition containing the demands to the office of the central government. MTV News understands the central governor is yet to make a response to that petition.
So we will not be pressured by 1 or 2 people, because the same people have got monies into their accounts in the past, and what did they deliver to the Koyari people? They cannot continue to use the Koyari people as fronts for monies to be paid into their company accounts and disappears into a black hole. So I will not hesitate to cite any individuals who threaten to close the tap or disrupt power services to the city and demand government for payment. We are going to go through a process, finalize the process, and then pay projects that the government feels should be funded under this package.
A sustainable measure will be taken by the government to address the issue, and because it involved a national court order, Maru said he wants the issue to be sorted out following legal processes. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Shares of the Bougainville Copper Limited have become a debatable issue in Parliament. Today, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill responded to questions in Parliament. He said the autonomous Bougainville government will not control 53% of the BCL shares, hence the national government has transferred 17.4% shares for the landowners and people of Bougainville.
Senator Youngmul MP Karangakwe was concerned over the mine's equity, which was a contentious issue that led to bloodshed during the civil war on Bougainville.
Was there, within the decision, additional provision made to ensure that part of the equity given to the ABG is actually allocated to the local people of Panguna, so that they feel that their sacrifices and efforts had been compensated and recognized by their national government, which is us here.
The Prime Minister then responded.
Mr. Speaker, in respect to Panguna, these shares are not given to ABG. I think that my statement very clearly stated that it is going to the landowners and the people of Bougainville. I have deliberately done that so that, Mr. Speaker, that ABG does not control 53% of the mine. I wanted a separate vehicle that the landowners can fully, meaningfully, directly participate in BCL. Mr. Speaker, and again, second reason why the government did that is because, Mr. Speaker, I understand from the mining laws of ABG, I need some clarity on this, but it is my understanding that ABG only provides 5% of the interest that they represent to the landowners. I do not believe that was sufficient enough to compensate some of the sufferings that the landowners in Bougainville carried on. That is why, Mr. Speaker, it will be a separate standalone vehicle for the Panguna landowners and also the other Bougainvillians who suffered during the crisis.
The manner in which the BCL shares were handled has raised curiosity among leaders and the people of Bougainville. President Chief John Momis has been very vocal on this issue, saying the autonomous Bougainville government is the legitimate authority, and such move by the national government is dangerous in breach of the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
As we are concerned, it is not fair, it is unjust, and the best we can do under the circumstances is to persuade and ask the national government to give us the 17% so that we have, ABG has 53% in the company, the Bougainville Copper. Rio has gone. The other 20, of course, the national government has 19%, and we welcome them. We want the national government to be in this deal with us, and of course, 27% shares owned by individuals. And we believe that this is a win-win deal.
The opposition leader Don Poli also raised the alarm, saying issues concerning Bougainville were sensitive and must be treated with careful consideration to avoid another civil war. In a statement, Mr. Poli said they never ask for money but economy, integral human development and livelihood. The opposition leader has called on Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to fully understand issues concerning Bougainville. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Goroka MP Bire Kimisopa says that there is a need for a supplementary budget. During questions without notice, the member demanded Treasury Minister Patrick Pruach to inform Parliament of when the government would introduce the supplementary budget.
Thank you,
Mr. Kimisopa told Parliament that the supplementary budget utility will be lost if introduced with the national budget in November.
Mr. Speaker, also you would deny the important stakeholders of this country, our people, important stakeholders such as businesses who are deeply engaged with government one way or the other. They will be denied certainty in terms of their services provided to the nation.
Another concern was on budget appropriations, which Mr. Kimisopa said that would breach constitutional and parliamentary laws if the government intends to table a supplementary budget with the 2017 budget in November.
Once appropriation has been set, we all know, Mr. Speaker, it is law. If you were to make the corrections in November, then you're in breach of the law. Mr. Speaker, another frightening trend is that in the absence of a supplementary budget, you allow businesses to transact with the government to the point where checks are issued, and it's quite disappointing and quite alarming, Mr. Speaker. Just after 2015 fiscal year, approximately well over 400 million kina worth of checks are still floating, earmarked for 2015. Eventually got paid in 2016. This is the kind of situation we have.
Treasurer Patrick Pruach was tight-lipped in response. instead assuring that government was in control and ensuring there were appropriate strategies in place before the supplementary budget is introduced.
Now in second week belong Parliament. Government is working through to ensure that appropriate strategies are put in place before a supplementary budget is introduced. I mean, like, give him undertaking the member belong Gorokana, members belong Parliament also before Parliament rise this session. Government is looking at taking some corrective, is going to be announcing the corrective measures because my for information and may come out. Now, yes, government is realistically assessing and will be handing down a supplementary budget shortly.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The many accidents and piracy activities along the coastal waters of PNG has prompted an inquiry into the National Maritime Safety Authority. Public Accounts Committee Chairman John Hickey questioned NMSA Secretary Paul Unas on the department's position in enforcing the Small Craft Act. The act was passed purposely to accommodate the safety of people using small craft as their main transport mode. He also questioned how the government's funds were used to provide surveillance within the 15 maritime port provinces. He said seafarers, especially women and children, have continuously lost their lives out at sea due to piracy and sea disasters without being dealt with. However, the delay in its ratification has been a slow progress since it was passed on the 27th of February in 2010 and gazetted on 19th February 2015. In addition, he called on manufacturers of small crafts or dinghies to meet the construction requirements. Coffee cupping competition to announce winners. Puma Energy expand in its operations and preparations underway for Mount Hagen show. Those stories and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. One of Papua New Guinea's biggest challenges is the high rate of unemployment of its young people. Member for Yanguru Sausia Richard Maru said he will not allow this to continue in his electorate and hinder the future of the people of Yanguru Sausia. He made the comments on Monday at the pioneer graduation of the Kanauki University Center in East Sepik.
It was a community event celebrating the achievement of 8 pioneer graduates of Kanauki University Center. The graduation was held at the Warasawa Primary School in the Numbo LLG. The Kanauki University Center comes under the UPNG Open Campus. It was established in 2013 and is the third and newest university center in East Sepik Province. Guests at the historical event included Professor Hari Nayarana, Executive Director of the UPNG Open Campus, and Dr. Stephen Winduo, representative of UPNG Vice-Chancellor Professor Albert Melam. All 8 students graduated with certificates in tertiary and community studies under social science. 2 of the 8 pioneers graduated in absentia. Local member and Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry Richard Maru said the University Center was established to deal with the high number of school leavers and youth unemployment.
But our intention is clear. No God want to boy in a girl or young social must come back to place after grade 12. You must continue here.
Student Representative Johnny Saliwa thanked the administration as well as the surrounding community for all their support for the duration of their studies.
On behalf of outgoing students, I would like to thank Mr. Warando and the outgoing director for continued support in one way or the other, and thus bringing the University Center to its current state.
Director of the Kanauki University Center, Patrick Fike, said the 8 students achieved outstanding results. He urged the University of PNG to give higher consideration to students coming out of the university centers.
This flower smarting, time only finish him over the 11 black horse flower, always call him or Kupla result straight. So me challenge or me asking me request, the university administration, please look seven our students from Ibla.
Executive Director of UPNG Open Campus, Professor Hari Nayarana, said being highly educated opened doors to endless opportunities.
And once you are highly educated, you are a personality with holistic development. And that's how you contribute to the society, to the economy.
Standing in for Professor Albert Melam, Dr. Stephen Winduo congratulated the students and said higher education was a channel to equip yourself personally and for positive contribution to the community.
So university, one important channel where you may establish place, you may kisim paper, you may can bring him, upla sit down commissar can the community bring.
Minister Maru said 1 million kina from DSIP will go towards developing the Kanauki University Center. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
In the meantime, the University of Papua New Guinea says it supports Minister Richard Maru's efforts in seeing the youth of his electorate get a second chance at education through the university center.
Vice Chancellor, let me talk. You must out him start thinking go back to the minister. Now talk him also. University of Papua New Guinea, let me stop on you. Me mas law initiative blow you, direction blow you, vision blow you. Now driving this agenda like some university go to rural communities. I mean, you want to speak for something. Now no planting member, now minister in a blow him. This can walk. So University of Papua New Guinea look sabe walk you walk him. Like some university come back, people blue. Now University of Papua New Guinea look him this plan now by support him. When I'm thinking blow you long, move him this like Kanauki University Center development go low. One him level you like him long.
Recently appointed Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology Minister Francis Marus made his first official visit to the University of Papua New Guinea this morning. Minister Marus was received by UPNG Vice Chancellor Professor Albert Melam, including other academic and administrative staff. Marus was given a tour around campus before he delivered his official speech.
Minister Marus visited the 2015 Pacific Games Village, the School of Law and Science for buildings. After his guided tour, Marus asked to speak to the contractor of the Science for building to establish the delay in its completion. Marus said though the academic year was suspended, he is pleased that most of the school's infrastructure was not destroyed.
I've also visited the site and I've seen the science building, and I understand funds have been coming in drips and drops form, and when funds are coming in drips and drops, you don't expect to see the infrastructure up in full swing. So that also I will make it my business to check on relevant authorities that are involved in the releasing of funds and the contractor to see why is it taking that long.
The national government had allocated 63 million kina for state universities following the suspension of classes at UPNG, University of Technology in Leh and the University of Goroka. UPNG was allocated 12 million, Unitec was given 43 million and UOG 8 million kina. The first 1 million kina for UPNG was presented to the UPNG administration today. This money will be used to repair the damages to some of the buildings.
The second one, of course, is a resource envelope in terms of financial support from government. It's so fundamentally critical to recommence the academic year, and the support by government of the 12 million kina is absolutely critical. Timing is critical for us, and I'm very grateful that you will provide leadership in that space to access those funds very quickly for the university, so that it will allow us to start the academic year with very minimal problems.
UPNG Vice Chancellor Professor Albert Melam expressed gratitude for Minister Maru's visit, stating that he was the first higher education minister to visit the building facilities, including the dormitories. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The winners of the National Coffee Cupping competition, currently being held in Leh, will be announced tomorrow morning. The judges are in the final stages of deciding the winners. More than 120 farmers and cooperatives are in Leh for the 3-day event, which gives them a better understanding of where their coffee ends up. The winners of the competition will be given access to international markets, which will attract better prices for their coffee. Puma Energy is expanding its retail services across the country with a strong customer base it enjoys across the major regions of the Highlands and Momase. Today at a promotion, Puma Energy National Retail Manager Jimmy Sun said they are developing products for the PNG market. Bethany Harriman with this report.
Puma Energy has enjoyed rapid growth since its takeover from Interoil in 2014. That growth continues with new products being produced on shore and sold to consumers. Today, Puma Energy's Jimmy Son says the company is expanding in the Papua New Guinean market.
We hope that we are able to reach out to more customers throughout the country and introduce new offering. Stand right behind me, actually you'll see the Puma gas cage. We recently introduced this to the market, and we now have it in Port Moresby and Leh, and the rest of the country will soon get it also.
Despite the economic challenges faced by the country, Puma Energy, like many other companies across various sectors, has continued to invest heavily into the PNG economy.
This is PNG made out of Napa refinery. This is one of the products that we want everybody in Papua New Guinea to benefit from. Soon we will have other products that we want to introduce to complete our offer in Papua New Guinea.
Today, the company presented a vehicle to a Leh mother of 4 whose name was picked out from a Momase draw.
Plenty time mitla husband tram best lobayam nuplakar mitla tram but lilik one mitla sa gaman holim na round golem na surprise one.
Puma Energy's expansion shows strength in the Papua New Guinean economy, but more so it shows confidence in the energy sector. The company has spent over $80 million in developing a supply chain alone, and they continue to spend. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Leh.
The committee of the Mount Hagen Cultural Show will need $500,000 kina to run this year's show. The National Gaming Control Board is the main sponsor of the 57th Mount Hagen Cultural Show, coming on board with 150,000 kina. Leh Biscuit Company and sister company Prima Small Goods are the latest sponsors, contributing 200 cartons of biscuits and 10,000 kina to the show committee. This year is the 16th year the company is supporting this particular show, and this year is no different. This week, the committee received the sponsorship from Leh Biscuit's Highlands Region Area Sales Manager and Prima Small Goods. Chairman of the show organizing committee, David Combra, when receiving the sponsorship, challenged other companies in the province to support the show.
And I agree with the challenge. Yes, we need to help and give something back to our people. And
16 years, Prima Small Goods have been supporting all the other activities around the country because they're part of the country and they want to be the part of the development of this country.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3155 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3080 $0.3991 Australian dollars, $0.2698 euro, and 30.51 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, cocoa, and copra closed higher, while coffee closed the day lower. Crude oil closed lower, while palm oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 21.92 points higher. The ASX is trading at 28.55 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 22.45 points lower. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill clarified the status of the asylum seekers and barricades removed at the Heights gas plant. Those stories, among others, when we return. Welcome back to the news. Markham District has renewed its partnership with World Vision to continue the water sanitation and hygiene project, better known as WASH, through the signing of an MOU. The project seeks to promote practices like hand washing, increased access to safe water, and better sanitation.
The MOU, which was signed by representatives from World Vision and Markham District's MP and CEO, underlined the district's commitment of 100,000 kina towards the project. Since it first rolled out this program in 2014 under similar agreements, Markham District CEO John Oribot said there has been a marked improvement in water provision for his people.
The result is overwhelming. We have 6,000 people benefiting. In the past, they walked miles for their water. With that partnership program, I think we took that burden off from them. So I want to see more of that happening in my district.
In that regard, Markham District MP Paul Ezekiel pledged to maintain this partnership with World Vision.
The DDA has passed a resolution and made a commitment to fund that program, the partnership program, every year with the full support of the chairman as the political leader of Markham.
He added that he hoped to engage in more of World Vision's future projects. World Vision Senior Operations Manager Stephen Milford reiterated their commitment to child well-being and commended the district for its active cooperation in rolling out the project successfully.
We have a few projects in Morobe that try to do that through our water and sanitation and health, particularly with maternal child health and even with the El Nino response. But those projects are not possible unless we have good partners. World Vision, it's not our project, we are working for the communities, with the communities and with our partners.
Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
The Lay District Court this week adjourned the case of a suspect said to be involved in the murder of a 20-year-old woman. Her body was found at the PNG-DF training area last month. The suspect, identified as Emmanuel Pipingan, 19, from Manus Province, is the son of a PNG-DF member. He appeared at the Lay District Court on Monday on 2 counts of willful murder and infanticide allegedly committed at Igam Barracks.
Magistrate Jeremiah Singomat specified the 2 charges, one for the killing of a woman and the other for the killing of their unborn child. In the first charge, the accused is alleged to have willfully murdered 20-year-old Jacqueline Kombugo, the mother of their unborn child. Magistrate Singomat ordered that the remand warrant be issued and the bail application to be sought at the National Court only. Earlier this month, police arrested and charged the suspect for the murder of the young women. Lay Metropolitan Commander Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi said a thorough investigation carried out by the investigators identified the suspect as the deceased boyfriend. Wagambi has also acknowledged the deceased relatives for their patience during the investigation. Last month, the relatives of the deceased made a peaceful march to the PNG Defence Force barracks to present a petition to the parents and relatives of the suspect. The deceased relatives, however, were met by the PNG Defence Force commander for Igam Barracks, where a dialogue was held outside of the barracks' main entrance gate. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Lay.
The government will resolve first payments to landowners in the PNG LNG project in the next 30 days. This was achieved after lengthy discussions between PDL1 and 7 landowners through an MOU signed this afternoon. Petroleum and Energy Minister Nixon Duban said the grievances raised were genuine and all payments will be processed. Minister Duban, along with clan leaders, MRDC and Kumul Petroleum representatives, all signed the MOU at the Hides 4 plant. Landowner leaders gave their assurance to remove barricades at the wellheads to allow normal operations by developer ExxonMobil. It is understood that the first payments to landowners will be the IDG funds, while other payments will be resolved in due process. Trukai Sports is next. We'll have news on cricket, football, and an update on the PNG Games.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. In cricket, following their recent success over Kenya, the PNG Hebo Barramundis are now back on the pitch, training for 3 upcoming matches in Australia. Barramundis will be playing 3 one-day matches against Western Australia, Tasmania and Queensland in the South Australia Cricket Premier League.
In preparation for the Australian matches, Barramundis played one of the practice matches and the other will be next Thursday. High performance manager Rarua Dikanas says they will be going against some of Australia's best cricketers and are focused to make the 3-day tour a success.
These games are very important games. They'll be first-class games, and this is the first time our national team will be playing state teams from Australia.
In the absence of head coach Deepak Patel in the last few weeks, the Barramundis, with the help of a coaching team, have focused on their batting and bowling drills. The team is now in shape and look forward to the next practice match.
It's pretty similar to the one against Kenya, but this time it will be a I-Cup first. We play 4-day cricket, Intercontinental Cup. That's a 4-day cricket match. It's similar to a test cricket match where the top playing nations play, test playing nations play, teams like Australia, Pakistan, but we ended second.
A week after returning from Australia, the team will host Namibia. This will be the second time for the Barramundis to play host this year, and they look forward to make this no different from the meet with Kenya, where they came out on top. Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
Still on cricket, former Australian women's cricket captain Lisa Stalker will be in the country on the 31st of August to be part of the Don't Drink and Drive Legends Big Bash event sponsored by Pacific MMI. Stalker announced her retirement following Australia's World Cup win in 2013, however still plays domestic cricket with the New South Wales Breakers. The former cricket star will attend the 4-day event as part of Cricket PNG's program to expose national cricketers to international players and create a vision of what they need to do to play at the highest level. This event, hosted by Cricket PNG, also supports Coalition for Change in raising awareness on domestic violence in PNG. And to football, after the conclusion of the Momase qualifiers for the Besta Cup recently in Madang, there is now hope that the region has much more to offer in terms of higher level football. With teams from as far as Maprik and Ambunti making the competition, Pasam earning 4th place finish, Momase football is on the rise.
Lay Football Association and Derby mates Lahi may have stolen the limelight with their semi-final showdowns respectively, as well as host Madang, but it was the lesser teams from Sundown and East Sepik that garnered a lot of support. Troy Goodnumber, who captained the Lay side to the tournament, believes that Momase has more to offer in the future competitions of PNG football, including also the National Soccer League.
All good players. All soccer teams will come up. Me looking the best association will come Maprik. We work na Wasam, but unfortunately Maprik and we work no make him na Pasam will come through.
Maprik, Pasam, Wiwek, Ambunti, Hulupu and Kairuru all made the trip to Madang's Laiwadan and impressed along the way. For some of the smaller associations, they believe the regional tournament was an important experience on the road to development.
Most of them are very young girls, low primary schools, secondary schools. So Me plus start the Mary football to lo we work. That's where me plus start lo developing more so that all can come out lo senior level lo same lo play inside lo kind big tournament lo same.
While it may take a while longer yet for the program to fully develop, it has extended to the other regions of Papua New Guinea. The Momasa region appears far better off than the rest of PNG. Jeremy Mogi, National, EMTV Sports.
Teams from various participating provinces have indicated their readiness to compete in the 7th PNG Games in November. Deputy Chairman of the PNG Games Council, John Boino, is also confident the Games will go ahead as planned despite the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup happening at the same time in Port Moresby.
At this stage, the Games Council is very positive the Games will go as planned, despite the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup happening in Port Moresby. Boino says all 22 provinces will be participating at the Games, and so far the Council has received notable results, which is very promising.
I think Team NCD is one of the that's going forward. Team Central is one of those that is preparing very well.
With less than 3 months into the Games, athletes and officials around the country have limited time to organize themselves and submit the entry by name and accreditation before 31st of this month. However, there are clear indications of improvement from various provinces, with least athletes' participation in the last PNG Games in Ley Morobe province.
That executive meeting we had representation from New Island, and New Island for the first time will be going across to Kimbe with a large contingent. And they are preparing very well, and they are on target. So it'll be a bonus for the provinces in the New Guinea Islands.
Riding on the back of a successful 2014 PNG Games and inspired by 2015 Pacific Games, Western and Gulf Province has sworn to descend on Kimbe in November with large contingent.
Western Province will come in full force. They are adamant that they want to win more than one gold medal, because in 2014 they had one athlete who won one gold medal for Western Province.
Meanwhile, the Games Council, along with National Federation, will have to define elite and national representative athletes and submit name lists to PNG Sports Director's Desk before distribution to participating provinces by the end of September. A limited number of national representatives will be allowed to participate at the Games, subject to the tournament rules of the respective codes. Shane Saroya, National, EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. Australian University Sports piloted a personal development program aimed at improving leadership skills in team coaches and captains of sporting clubs in PNG last Saturday. OR's National Programs Manager Donna Spitman hosted the Be the Influence program designed to provide participants with tools and knowledge to be the influence amongst their peers.
The workshop encouraged students and people who are in leadership roles to become stronger leaders and understand their leadership skills and their personal brand and what makes them successful in the leadership role. Spitman said it was the first time to run the workshop in PNG and out of Australia, and it's always exciting to see the participants embracing new ideas and eager to learn more and taking away those skills. Being a regular visitor, Spitman has bigger aims to run the Be Influence or BTI program across all universities in Papua New Guinea eventually, and also do other workshops around event management. The event management specialist who organizes some of the largest participation events such as the Australian Uni Games said students playing sport in university is very important for their healthy body and healthy mind. Spitman highlighted the importance of athletes' well-being and even students participating in sports. Social sports, playing at lunchtime is great, but then also something like the PNG Uni Games enables them to represent their universities. It can also be a talent pathway because attending the PNG Uni Games could mean that you may have opportunity to expand your sporting ability and also have the opportunity to represent PNG at the World University Games. Shane Saroya, National, EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. We'll have the weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, fine although partly cloudy at times in Port Moresby, fine in Daru, rain showers in Kerema, cloudy in Alotau, and cloudy with light rain easing in Popondetta. In the Momase region, light rain in Ley and Medang, cloudy with light rain easing in Wewak, and cloudy in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands, fine in Lorengau, some rain showers in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, and some thundery showers for Buka. And in the Highlands region, all centers expecting light rain. Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Parliament hears questions on supplementary budget, shares in BCL also discussed, and Minister Maru says no payment until state meets with all groups. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Gabina. Pleasant viewing. Good night.